academic yo in their leadership rococo, leadership rababare.
It's all the serious stuff,
but with a light-hearted twist.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
And I'm Aghogho.
Join us 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Right here.
On Hard Facts.
Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. I'm Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts.
Shaku Maku, everybody. It's a fine day. Everyone's resumed work after the Independence holiday. And it is, rain here and there, but my weather gizmo tells me that it's a bright, sunny day.
It is indeed. Yesterday, the flooding was so bad. My God, I couldn't drive to work. I had to use a cab. It was so bad, I didn't even allow my cab to drive into my estate because the water was so high. I'm a nice person. I didn't want him to spoil his car, but instead, I walked through the flood and I didn't take into account that I'm a short woman. So that meant that the water was really, really high. Yeah. And so the dress I wore to work yesterday was soaked by the flood. So now I had to stop somewhere and scrub and use sanitizer on my skin. It's a disaster, seriously.
People in that axis of time, they have raincoats and
I need to get walking boots.
Yeah.
I need to get rain boots. I need that in my life. But the flood subsided by this morning and I was able to drive to work. Does it flood in your area, Aghogho?
No.
It doesn't flood on Lagos Island?
In the real Lagos Island, doesn't flood.
It doesn't.
But that area, that part of town where you're in, it's like an afterthought. The development has happened with the estates first without the site and services happening. So
it's scary.
It's going to take a lot.
Speaking of a lot,
stuff to happen.
It will take a lot more than flooding to stop us here on Hard Facts. Aghogho and I are here every weekday to give you the best insights into today's most important topics. We bring them to you, we break them down, we give you the facts, and you form an informed opinion. We have a great show. What's on the big three, Aghogho?
Yeah, on the big three, we've got big stories. In fact, I was just stepping in and the stories were just pouring in. I was hearing Gordon talk about the election petition tribunal in Sokoto State. Plateau State also just happened too. Lalong has... will continue in office, same as Aminu Tambuwal. And then Abdul Rashid Maina, you know the guy? I was just running and I hear that he was a former pension recovery agency administration. I'll get the full name, but a lot of controversy when he was with Goodluck Jonathan and then when he came with Muhammadu Buhari. About allowing him come back to office and all of that. Well, he's been arrested now by the EFCC. I understand his son pulled a gun at the DSS at a hotel in Otako before he was picked up, but it's a developing story. But on the big three, President Buhari says he's not seeking a third term. It's in reaction to stories online saying that he is going to be going for a third term, saying that is not true. Lagos State government investigates possible flu outbreak, not again at Queen's College. There have been reactions to this back and forth. The old girls have come out to speak. The Ministry of Health in Lagos State has also spoken with Maureen Ogolo, who is on the field. She's at Queen's College at Yaba. She will tell us exactly what it is. And Ganduje wins at the tribunal. He's one of several governors today who will be celebrating the reaffirmation of the electoral wins at the tribunal. But there's still a Supreme Court to come for them. And then glass ceiling.
If they do decide to go ahead, of course. On the glass ceiling, we're talking about discrimination against unmarried women when it comes to renting houses. I have with me a journalist who wrote an article about that particular matter on this subject, and we're going to delve deep into it. And we're taking on healthcare in Lagos on the Big Hard Fact, right, Aghogho?
Yes. And there's a case study which we've had an interview with the head of the regulatory agency which looks into the primary healthcare centers in the state, whether they met the standard. So a number of private, at least last week, about over 20 healthcare centers were closed by the state government. So we spoke with with the head of that agency, together with the World Health Organization urging countries to invest 1% gross domestic product in primary healthcare, which for a population of over 20 million. A big question for many of the people you speak with every day is how will they continue to pay money out of the pockets, which many times isn't enough for them, and they rather will just take care of their own health rather than depend on the professionals. And, the consequences are there for all to see.
And we'll wrap up with I Beg to Differ. As usual throughout the show, we're bringing you the latest updates from the worlds of news, sports and entertainment. But let's get things started with the big three.
This is the
Big Three
The Big Three on Hard Facts.
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
You know what to expect on the Big Three, stories that everybody is talking about right now. The Big Three at 3. Should the presidency have responded to third-term demonstrators? Does your child's school have a sick bay, as government recommends? And how does Ganduje's victory, as well as all the other governors who have been reaffirmed today at the different tribunals, make you feel? Our first story, the presidency has dismissed the idea of a third term for President Muhammadu Buhari. Speaking yesterday, the president's senior special assistant for media, Garba Shehu, rejected what he claims were calls from street protesters for the president to run for re-election in 2023. Shehu pointed out that the constitution does not support a third term and that President Buhari would oppose any attempted amendment for that purpose. Shehu assured Nigerians that President Buhari would finish his term and that there would be an election in 2023 in which he will not contest to pick his successor. A very clear message, Aghogho.
Yeah, very clear. I can't wait for the weekend so I can have a look at all the political columnists, what they have to say in their pages, in explaining what has happened in the last 2 weeks. First, it was the Vice President Oshibajo's posters in some parts of the country saying he runs for a second term, runs for president of the country come 2023, and a denial from the president saying that that wasn't from his office and that wasn't from any of his supporters. That's none of his business right now. And then we have this one with the president. Well, they say there's this popular saying, there's no smoke without fire. But no smoke without fire, many times Nigeria turned out to be all smoke and no fire in the real sense of it, because it hasn't been true many times that this has happened. And it does re-echo the third term agitation, but that was a lot more fleshed in the way it went before the National Assembly, and eventually Adolphus Wabara, Spears of Senate, kicked that one out, and we all knew what we suffered for that, because all of the good work that was put into the constitutional amendment was thrown away together with that, and then it's a bit concerning now that this is coming up now. But if whatever amendment the Ninth Assembly is going to work with the Constitution and with all the complaints people have been making, you don't want this to be in the works and then throw spanner in whatever anyone is trying to do with respect to either the constitutional amendment or the Electoral Act, which are very, very important documents to be worked on. But it's pretty great viewing for the neutrals. I'd like to know who is behind all of this stuff. They say that every time a crowd goes out, there's some sponsor behind them.
But that's the thing, Aghogho. These demonstrations that Garba Shehu talked about, I don't think they were on the national radar. Nobody was talking about them. So I'm sure for many people, Shehu's statement is the first time they're hearing third term being discussed. And Nigerians, we can be very suspicious and conspirational about these types of things. So I already heard some people saying, is Garba Shehu simply testing the waters to see how Nigerians react to the idea? And on the other hand, you have Garba Shehu being very firm and very clear. He said the president will not countenance it. He said that under a past administration, there had been an attempt to change the constitution to allow the president to contest a third term. But the president believes it was wrong then and it is wrong now. And I actually remember that President Buhari was one of those who, during Obasanjo's second term, was speaking out in public about an alleged attempt at a third term. And this matter of tenure elongation, it's something that happens in so many African countries. That's when term limits are used, are changed so that the incumbent can remain in power. We've seen it in Uganda. President Yoweri Museveni was meant to leave power in 2006. He's still there 13 years later. Something similar has happened with Paul Kagame in Rwanda as well. The reason that a lot of pro-democracy advocates frown on this is it allows an incumbent to use the power of the state to keep herself in power forever. So term limits actually exist to stop too much power from concentrating in one woman's hands. Just as she's becoming very strong and very influential, she has to step down. It's a mechanism for keeping democracy alive. So here's hoping that this is where this ends and we're not going to hear more of it. We're not going to debate whether or not tenure elongation is good or bad. What we are going to talk about is, do you think the president should have responded? Some say that there was no need to give life to these rumors and suggestions. Others say it was necessary for the president to come out and reject it before people get the idea that they're behind it. What do you think? 01277 0993, that's the number for women. 01277 1993, 01277 2993, and 01277 3993. Let's talk to Peter, I think. Peter is in Lekki. Hello, Peter. Hello. All right, Peter is not ready yet. Hello. Hello. Is anybody there? Okay, not there. Hello.
Hello?
Welcome.
Go ahead, please. What's your name and where you calling from? Hello? Okay, let's pick up that call and hear who is on the line.
Hello?
Oh, hello. I see this is Prince Wyatt, right?
Oboh, how are you?
I'm very well, and how are you?
I'm very okay.
All right, please go ahead.
Let me greet that beautiful lady behind you there.
Well, she's beside me.
Beside you there.
All right, she's great. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon to you.
She's all good. Please go on, Prince Wyatt.
Okay, let me
She's
go.
just stepped out.
You see, I want to talk about that third time slogan being fed by patriotic Nigeria. Anybody that want to change our constitution for any president to go for third time is not a good Nigeria. Why am I saying this?
Tell me why.
We know the peculiar of our country. Before 1960, we do have three countries. That's three regions: Western region, Eastern region, Northern region. Come 64, we have 4 regions in this country.
Right.
Now, and the white people that colonize Nigeria, they say South, North, South, and North. Not have taken their 8 years,
right.
2023.
Right.
It means it is a turn of the South. What I'm talking about? As of now, I support the government. I supported them. But in no second class citizens in this country, nobody should regard one sector of this country as a second class citizen or third class citizen. We're all equal before Almighty God. So 2023 is to go to the South. Any Northerner, whether you're PDP, you're APC, if you love this country very dearly,
all right, Prince
our unity to continue, you should serve it and let.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to go to our next story. I know this is very big story. I guess Sandra is going to bring it up during our Back to Differ. But we'll take a quick break. We come back. We'll get our second story, which is with Ivy League School, Queen's College. What's happening in Queen's College? Please keep listening.
Right here on the Big 3 on 99.3 Algeria Info. This is the Big Three.
The Big Three on Hard Facts.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, Lagos, we've got 3 stories for you on the Big Three today. We told you that the presidency has condemned calls for a third term, and Lagos State is investigating an outbreak at Queen's College. That's our second story on the Big Three. The Lagos State government says that they are currently in talks with different organizations, different stakeholders in the matter, trying to get to the bottom of the story about what's happening at the at the Queen's College. You said Ivy League, so my mind is going to university.
Yeah, all the common entrance, everybody just knew that the schools you didn't want to go fight for was Queen's College and King's College, incidentally, both of them in Lagos, because of it was considered to be prestigious in a way. But unfortunately, over the years, the standards have dropped. You know the saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. You have this sort of thing happen one more time again. And once again, it appears lessons haven't been learned, because I remember how we followed this story in 2017 when a number of students were affected by health epidemic that happened there, and then the school then did not own the story. They allowed others take hold of the narrative and denials
run
upon
with
denials, and at the end of the day it was a messy situation, and then look at what happened.
Well,
The
right
same
now,
thing happened again.
yes, because the Ministry of Health has said it's looking into the possible flu outbreak at Queen's College. They're urging parents and the general public to remain calm. The ministry announced that so far 89 students have been admitted to the school's sick bay. All the hospitalized girls reported influenza-like symptoms, including cough, runny nose, fever, and weakness. The state government sent a team to the school to investigate the outbreak, and a comprehensive report is being compiled. Ministry is urging Lagosians to take personal hygiene seriously. Maureen Oghogho is at the scene. Hello, Maureen.
Hi, Sandra. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Why is it so groovy where you are?
I'm actually inside the bus.
It's so groovy in the bus. Okay.
Okay, I hope they can turn down the volume of whatever they are listening to. So,
yes, please.
right.
Thank you. Aha, fantastic.
Okay.
All right, so tell us
Okay,
what
now.
happened when you got to Queen's College.
Well, at the entrance, we met with the school security agency who refused letting us going into the premises.
Okay.
They said they can't allow any of the press or media houses to go in.
Okay.
That so far investigations are still on, and nothing can be said about what the situation is like until when the Lagos State government has given their approval on what exactly this illness is being caused by.
and the school is still in session, I can imagine. Maureen.
Yes, the school is still in session.
It's in session.
Students are still there receiving their, going about their daily activities, receiving lectures and all that.
So tell us what we know, because earlier on Sandra was just going through some of the statistics we are getting from preliminary findings and reports from the State Ministry of Health, saying about 85
89 of them.
Okay, 89 of them did go to the sick bay. A number of them have been discharged. A number of them aren't yet back. And our minds are running back to a similar incident which played back in 2017, if I'm not mistaken, where you had children from the Queen's College also get involved in some ailment then. And just like then, we're having conflicting stories from, at least 3 sources now, if you put in the Lagos Ministry of Health. There is the Old Girls Association of Queen's College, and there's also the Parents Teachers Association of Queen's College, which looked like the whistleblower to this story, where they granted an interview saying that there was something going on. And, so all of this confusion hasn't made this whole thing really, to go. But can we begin to weave a common narrative now? Has the school issued out a statement yet?
Not yet. As at the time I was at the school premises, like you said, the old student association, the parents teachers association, and the authorities, stakeholders of the school, they were present at a meeting at that time I was at the school premises. And security agencies said they can't grant us access into the school premises I actually asked to speak with the principal or the vice principal. They said they are in a meeting and they can't issue out any statement presently. And while I was there, even some members of the Ministry of Health in Lagos State visited the premises. I think investigations are still ongoing within the school and other schools. And also in the statement issued, they've also advised students to stop roadside food buying. They said this can also contribute because they don't know the source of which these foods are being cooked. They've advised students to stop buying food by the roadside.
But they've ruled out that this epidemic has nothing to do with water, like it was the case 2 years ago. Because I'm saying that this is not related to water.
No, but the release issued out stated that the school management must hold food handlers and vendors to the highest health and hygiene check protocols as stipulated in law of practice all over the world. So that's been also checked. Then they've also advised every school should provide hand washing points for the schools and also handkerchiefs for the cough and sneezing of students. Students should also have that available with them. And also the statement also read that the students should also make sure that they are being well groomed on hygiene policy and all that before coming into the school.
Any pressure from any of these groups? I know the stakeholders, the old girls, the PTA, asking that the school be shut down. Has there been anything about that sort of demand?
No, nothing of such. The school, at the time I was there, I think the school is still calm. There's, students are still going about their studies, and parents are even coming in to register some of their students who want to come into the school. Okay. I met about 2 parents who came there to register their children. Okay. So I think so far, still calm for now.
Okay. All right, Maureen, thank you so much for talking to us on the show.
You're welcome.
Well, it's the flu. I mean, the flu is not exactly life-ending. You know, what the preliminary reports are that the symptoms are influenza-like. So it's flu season. I dealt with the flu while I was on leave, as I'm sure a lot of you have as well. So it's not exactly anything to panic about. And that's why the state government has said, everybody calm down. But one thing that struck me was the ministry statement that all schools should have sick bays. It got me wondering how many schools have sick bays or even a nurse, and the ministry is saying that even day schools must have sick bays or dispensaries. And I know right now somebody is saying, is it necessary? But I have to ask, is anything more important than the children's health? Does the school of your kid have sick bays, Aghogho?
Oh yes, they do have sick bays.
Fantastic.
But the fear here right now, which is what the Lagos State government is trying to diminish in some way, which is difficult because what happened in 2017 was really gruesome.
Scary,
I mean, I was there. I mean, I saw how parents were shocked at those reports that were released later on. I mean, this could have been averted. You had situations where children couldn't be diagnosed, whether it was malaria, some died. I think one died in the school. There was no hospital. It was really bad. So you think maybe 2 years later, this whole thing probably would have been done, more efficiently. The school should have put out a statement. I mean, this is Queen's College, not some roadside secondary school that this is going on. So Queen's College together with King's College, which is not so far from here. When you go past there, you start to wonder what has happened to our education. That you have these supposed schools that were supposed to be the schools that had all the allure back in the days. I mean, everyone would kill, to get into any of these schools. But look at what is going on now.
Well,
so it's really it's great concern if I think about it very well.
Let's bring you into the conversation. And the same question I asked Aghogho is the same one I'm asking you. Does your child's school have a sick bay as government recommends? Do you think government and the school are handling this outbreak well? 012770993, 012771993, 2993 and 3993. When you went to school, was there a sick bay? In case you don't have a child and you want to comment on this situation. If you still want to comment on the first story, feel free as well. We're streaming this conversation on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info FM. We've got calls coming in. John Emmanuel is in Cotton. Hello, John. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon, John.
Yes. Sick bay. I know many schools has. My daughter's school has.
Okay.
The only thing is, I remember the last time we actually had a meeting in the school, and they were like, there are some drugs that are banned by child still in KG. That they drugs that are not administrable again. So that most time when they notice a kind of symptoms, that we should not allow the kids to come to school.
Let me put you on the pause here, John, very quickly, because I know this happens a lot in many schools. If your child was ill, for example, do the school authorities call you first before they administer any of those drugs?
From this is my first child, so actually I'm a first experience. So I'm probably going to speak on my own. Presently now my child has not had, but from the PTA, the school's really firm about it. Actually, parents are allowing sick kids come to school. They are not going to take it lightly with them. Because when the quiz college actually breaks out, I was watching TV yesterday and I saw one of the parents on TV yesterday. Actually, the boss that there was an outbreak. But my worry was like, if 90 child or children or puppies were infected within a period of just these 2 weeks at school just I think it should call for alarm because there are you have up to 40. 90 should be like 2 classes. Imagine a whole 2-class students all falling sick at the same time. I believe this term, not like the years of the Ebola where schools were proactive. Many schools these days now have actually fall back on relaxed on the hygienic thing within their schools. I teach in a public school and I realized that when the Ebola thing was up, we're all everywhere. Any child is allowed to come to class without, but after a while now, you see kids come into school, play anyhow. Especially in public schools, you just see those kids just stroll into school. You see somebody with, as in, the symptom is all written all over the face in public school, and they still allow the child to go into class. And you're wondering, is this child healthy enough to sit among people? Then maybe once in a while, after the parents complain, the headmaster will now come to class and check, and now start calling the parents to come and take the child away. I think more parents should be more proactive this time around. School is just resuming.
That's why you have PTA. Unfortunately, many PTA meetings end up with the principal backing orders of the parents, and the parents cannot respond to the principal.
College zone. I saw it in the one of the yesterday. I saw it in it that the parents were saying something else. The PTA chairman was saying something else. Because the way the man came on here to tackle the PTA chairman, I knew something was actually wrong somewhere.
Because there's a lot of
because
politics.
the man was insisting that only the Ministry of right to issue any statement concerning quiz college, which the PTA chairman does not have that right to issue.
Well, John, thank you so much for calling to share lots of insight. You've been very, very, very insightful. Rafi is calling the female line. Is Rafi female?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
It's really sad that this is happening again because it was such a big deal when it happened in 2017. And I remember listening to it on this same station, talking about it then. And it's just sad that it was done and this is repeating itself again. So I don't think that they are handling this well at all. And for the sick days in schools, especially federal schools, I'm sorry to say, is almost like a waste of space. There is no good facilities. I visited my secondary school recently to go collect something, and I was to find out that the same old sick bay is still the same sick bay.
Same way.
And I remember my own really bad experience with the sick bay there. Clearly stated in my records, I'm allergic to chloroquine. I was given that.
Oh my God.
Treatment.
Oh my
and
God.
I suffered for 3 days.
Oh my God.
It was a terrible incident. Since then, even when I went to the university, because I also went to a federal university, if I'm sick, I go somewhere else. I don't even go to anything sick bay. Anything in school, I don't go there. I don't. So
if this was a serious
terrible.
country, you'd actually sue the school for doing that to you.
If you
was. That was, yeah.
Rafi, thanks for calling to share your story. Our final story, well, let's talk to Moses. He's already on hold, and then we'll move on to our final story. He's in his solo. Moses, welcome.
Yeah, hello, Sandra.
Yes, welcome.
Well, what is going on in that prestigious school now, Queen's College? Something is just not right. Or suddenly it's becoming almost in the news for the wrong reasons all the time. Anyway, I hope they will fix it before it becomes a death trap for people and lose its prestige. For the first question, somebody once said, it'd be like, say, they want to start another story again. I have a feeling. Are you there?
Yes, we're hearing you.
This is not just an ordinary thing. They are flying a kite, and they want to see people's reaction. What brings up what I just brought about this kind of talk? No wonder somebody is being persecuted right now. Maybe somebody has seen that this is a move which may be illegal, and they say, hey, before you disturb our plans. But I just know that this is a country where you know that once they put something into the public, be wary of certain things. Let me stop for now.
Okay, Moses, thank you so much. Well, I did say a lot of conspiracy theories will take off as a result of that story.
And it's something that will continue. We'll be on this story for a while, and let's see what the Lagos State government's findings.
No, well, he was actually talking about the first story, Buhari's third term.
No, Nigerians love conspiracy theories.
Our final story isn't a conspiracy theory, even though there are lots of conspiracy theories when it was raging. The Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Kano State has affirmed the victory of Governor Abdullahi Ganduje. Delivering this judgment on Wednesday, the tribunal's chairperson, Halima Shamaki, announced the dismissal of the petition of the PDP and its governorship candidates. This chapter may finally be over, Aghogho, may finally be closed.
Never say never until they get to the Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, eh?
And then the Supreme Court will have to rule. I mean, we've seen this happen back and forth and over again. But something I see with the statement from the Kano State government saying our victory at the tribunal is a confirmation that despite the barrage of insults and negativity from a select few, when God is on your side, nothing else matters and victory is assured.
That's Dawisu on Twitter, one of his aides.
And it's interesting when you say a select few. I mean, the contest for the governorship election in Kano State was close. If I recollect, both parties had over 1 million. Yeah,
that's why it was inconclusive.
Exactly. So, people better be careful how they go mouth stuff and say that it's only a select few. And then it's back to the question whether if you win at the tribunal, whether it's because of what happened on the ground or not necessarily because of technicalities like we've seen. To prove the onus many times is very difficult, especially for that one who is coming to prove that electoral fraud happened to an extent to cause a shift in the electoral process. But he's just one of several people who will be going to bed this night with 2 eyes closed.
A little happier. And Governor Ganduje himself seems to have 9 lives. He seems to be a cat with 9 lives. He faced so many allegations in his first term. He had friction with the Emir of Kano. He was declared winner of a very close election. And now he has won his tribunal. His chi is strong, very strong. Of course, the PDP will probably appeal the verdict. We'll see how it goes. 012770993, 012771993, 012772993, and 3993. Which of our 3 stories do you want to react to? Our first story, we were asking if you thought the president should have even bothered to respond to the rumors that he wants to go for a 3rd term. And does your child's school have a sick bay the way government recommends? And how do you feel about Ganduje's victory at the tribunal? Let's talk to you now. WhatsApp is available as well. 080-959-75805. 080-959-75805. Alhaji is calling us. Let's talk to him. Hello.
Okay.
Yes, you're live on the show. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome. How are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Raji Hafiz, as I've said earlier on.
Okay.
I am a parent of Queen's College.
Okay.
And what is disturbing me so far is that, disturbing is that this news, I got the news on night.com platform just yesterday evening.
Okay.
So the school authority could be hiding such a very vital information from parents. And I know the management is trying to cajole them not to call their parents. Because I know my daughter will have called me if when this thing broke out, when my wife was telling me this morning, I said I can't believe it, because I'm surprised that my daughter has not called me. Even for simple things, she will have found a way of getting us informed. So in this country, we were very careful. This
Have you called her?
Ago,
Have you called your daughter?
You know, they don't have access to phone.
Oh, I see.
So yes, they don't have access to phone.
I see.
We just need to try and find a way of getting to some of the students now.
Okay.
They are not allowed to have phone.
I'm sorry, sir, but what about the PTA?
The borders. We can only relate with those who are on day.
Tell us about the PTA.
And get to know what is really happening.
I mean, the reason you have the PTA is so that they can be the bridge between the students and the management and you. The Parents Teachers Association for Queen's College. The PTA.
Yes, the PTA. I'm surprised for the PTA chairman that we will always want to defend the school. When we have voted him in to defend the students and the parents something. For most time, he came out to deny what is happening. I'm so surprised when I was hearing that the education was denying it. And it is in public gallery. That's what's really happening. I don't know why we are in Nigeria.
Well, you need to try as much as possible to get in touch with your daughter and find out for yourself what's going on. Because you heard our correspondent, she went there and she was not allowed access into the school premises. If they had nothing to hide, they wouldn't have stopped her from coming in. They will allow the
journalists to enter and verify the claim what is in public domain.
So try and get in touch with your daughter, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Alhaji, thanks for calling us. Anthony is in Ikeja. Anthony, welcome.
Good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon.
How are you today?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm cool.
So 3 stories on the big 3. Do you want to react to all of them?
Let me react on the Ganduje's victory.
Okay.
At the tribunal.
Okay.
What I want to say is that elections in Nigeria, I'm not surprised anyway, because the way we structure our electoral processes means that once you have been declared the winner, it's very, very impossible to turn it around. Even when the fraud or the manipulations were, widely seen, I thought that the APC would do something different, but the way things are, I'm afraid that in future elections, if nothing is done, it's going to be more violent. It is not good for democracy, and it will not augur well for Nigeria development. We need to tinker with our electoral law. We have bogus electoral register that does not represent the true number of registered voters in Nigeria, and something needs to be done.
Okay. Anthony, thank you for sharing your thoughts. We've got Christopher in Surulere. Hello, Christopher. Welcome.
My President Sandra.
Hi.
Chief Oboh.
Hey, Chief Christopher.
Chakumaku.
Makushi.
Yeah. Sandra.
Sir.
Chief Oboh.
Hey.
You remember I've been telling you that my fear is third term. You remember? I've been saying this, right? Mm-hmm. You can hear the news flying front and back now.
Well, to be fair, the presidency has said vehemently that this is not the case.
This is Nigeria, my sister.
Okay.
Even the first term, the president said he's going to use only 4 years. Today is second term. He's going the second term. But I want to beg him. I know the people who are benefiting from him. They are the ones flying this kite. I've been saying it. Say my fear is third term, and if the guy wants it, he will succeed. But I want to beg him, please.
But Chief Christopher, we have this happen almost every. I think it was Obasanjo's own with the third term, which he denied. You remember Goodluck Jonathan, who had said, "Give me a single term of 6 years."
A single term, yes.
Of 6 years, and that became a big problem. So I think
everyone
comes saying you have something around the term limitations.
Chief Oboh. You know what is going on now? Those who are benefiting from this president, they are the one flying this kite. For the guy, he has no problem. He's okay with this 8 years. Say you get. So I want to beg him to not dance to their tune of music. Please, for God's sake. Thank you.
Okay, Christopher. Our final call is Sam. Sam is in Apapa. Hello, Sam.
Good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, I want to zero in on. You are saying that presidency should have bothered the same people that will come and say the silence is golden. If they did not respond, it will make a confirmation that what the rumor they are hearing is quite true. It is very, very apt for as far as I'm concerned for them to have responded. Okay. And to debug our minds. Look at what Chris is saying now. He said he has been telling you people that this man is old. He can never try that. And if you fail, but I know President Buhari cannot do that. Forget other areas that is doing whatever we may not like. I'm a supporter, but not in this case. Okay. So for the response, it's very apt.
Okay.
Take
All
that
right.
or leave it.
All right. This is a debate we're going to have on I Beg to Differ. Should they have responded or not? It'll be interesting to hear what people will say to that. All right. Coming up is the glass ceiling. Today on the glass ceiling, let's talk about why single women cannot rent in Lagos because landlords discriminate against them. Why is that happening? I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
And I'm Aghogho Oboh.